Hi everybody, this is Usha Pandit, your Mindsprings English teacher. Today we have a very important lesson, summary. Summary or summarizing is a life skill. Basically, it means creating a shorter, smaller version of the original without losing any of its key points. So it is making something very short, an essence of something where you don't lose the original points and you don't lose the key points. So what are you doing? You're throwing out all the frills, you're throwing out all the extra fat, and you're keeping the summary to the basic points in whatever. So it could be a story. Today I'm going to do a story with you, and then I'm going to do an article with you. Okay, so stay with me till the end. First we'll do a story so that it's simple and you understand it very quickly. So I have not chosen some very hard story or a big book or a massive article and things like that. I've chosen a very simple fairy tale actually, so that you understand how it works. So let me take you through the 10 points of a summary's requirements. What does it require? Remember, you will summarize all your life. Tomorrow you take up a job, you will need to summarize a meeting. You take up something, you go to a conference, you will have to make what are the notes that you make. That's a summary of the entire process. If you have gone and paid some 30,000 or 50,000 rupees or in dollars, you are not likely to go there and just listen and come back. You will make notes and you will need these summarizing skills when you come back and you have to make a presentation. So do not treat the summary lightly. It's not just a question that is coming in your 10th or 12th grade paper. It is something that will give you those promotions. It is something that will translate into big money in the future. So pay attention. So summary requirements are, it has to be brief and concise, which means you cannot write very long one. The summary should be as short as possible without missing any of the points. It's a paraphrase, and what does that mean? There should be no change in the meaning. That's how when you paraphrase, you keep the key points, no change in meaning. And the way you do it is, first you skim. What is the meaning of skimming? Skimming, as it means, where if a bird skims on the ocean, what does it do? It just goes like that. It doesn't go deep inside, it simply brushes over the water. So if you run your eyes on a piece of text, you will quickly know what it's about. That is skimming. Skimming means not going and reading line by line by line the minute you start, because you will not only waste time, you won't get a general impression. So skimming is very important. Doesn't take more than a minute to skim. Okay, and then you scan. So skimming, after skimming is scanning. Scanning means running through it and asking yourself, what is it about? What are the details in the story? Very quickly. Suppose it's something about the Amazon tribe. Is it about everything about them, or are they talking about only the diet of those guys, or are they talking about the diseases that the tribe gets? Sometimes it's not everything about them, it's just one aspect. So if you scan, you will know that the entire article is about the diseases in the Amazon. You'll catch it like this, and that's very important. Don't read line by line by line and then get down till the end and then go back and read it again and again. You don't do that. You don't have time in an examination. So skim, scan, and then pull out the key ideas in each paragraph. So in each para, there will be something new that they are saying. So the whole thing might be about the diet, and the first paragraph it might be about the fish that they eat, and the second it might be the fruits that they eat, and the third paragraph it might be about the birds that they hunt. So you know. So what are your key ideas? Number one, fish. Fishing is done every day. Number two, fruits and vegetables are plentiful. Number 3, birds are hunted by using bows and arrows. Finished. These are your 3 key points. You take those 3 key points and that is your summary. Now don't copy it down, just write it down in short form, in the form of notes. So what will I write? I am going to write for key ideas: fish, fruit, birds. That's it. And when I write my summary, I am going to start using the notes and writing it in my own words, which means I might write that entire 3 paragraphs, I might summarize it in 2 lines by saying, the diet of the Amazon people consists of fish, fruit and birds. That's it. That's my summary, the shortest summary. Combine sentences. So if you have a longer summary, now the one that I told you is very short. If you have a longer summary, you might have to combine 1 or 2 sentences together so that you make it shorter. If you say the diet of the Amazon people is fish, and then they sometimes go and hunt for fruit, very often they take this becomes long, lots of extra words and too many sentences. So you combine sentences. Same as the order, same order as the passage. If they have written fish, fruit, birds, you don't change the order. You keep it exactly like that. Use connectives and participle phrases. Participle phrases where you start with a participle, right? Having hunted for the birds, the man decided to gather some fruit. Now here when you say having hunted, you are not saying he hunted for fruits, then he did this. You've combined it by saying having hunted for fish, he moved to fruit. So having, that is your participle phrase. And connectives are where you use and but and for and because and things like that, and you combine 2 sentences by using conjunctions. Use topic sentence in your paragraph. Very often academic summaries expect you to write a topic sentence or the main sentence. The diet of the Amazonians are rich in essential proteins. Maybe that is your topic sentence. Put that topic sentence down, because maybe that is what the whole passage is trying to tell you, that it is rich in protein or it's a balanced diet. They may be Amazon tribes living in the jungle, but it's a balanced diet. So write, that is your topic sentence. They have a balanced diet, full stop. That's your topic sentence. And then use reporting verbs. So especially if you are doing something like a story, you use a lot of reporting verbs. You do not write the story as it is. Give a title if needed. There are some people who want you to give a title. Give that title. It should be short and it should tell you quickly about the passage. So if it's the Amazon tribe, you say the miraculous Amazonian diet. 3 words, great title, and that's what you do. So I basically told you very quickly how to summarize by using that Amazonian or the Amazon tribes passage. But now I will show you how to do a story, and then we will go on to a proper article from the newspaper. Okay, so stay with me. Now when you tell children to summarize stories that they read, so sometimes the teacher says go and read the story and come back tomorrow. And then she says, okay, who's going to tell me the story now? And then she calls on children to summarize the story. That's what she wants. She wants a quick account of the story, and the child starts with once upon a time there was a girl. And you will find almost 15-20 minutes spent in telling the story. That is what you do not do in a summary. So what are you doing in a summary? Let's see how you do a story summary. I have chosen Red Riding Hood, which everybody knows, very easy. And let's see how we do it. So you answer in a story. If you are given a story to summarize, lots and lots of people will tell you what was the movie about. They basically want to tell you, you to give them a quick idea, right? Or what's this book about? What's the story in the book about? Any of these questions, basically we are looking at the 5 WH and how questions to be answered. So who's in the story? Where is it set? When is it set? What happened in the story? Why did it happen? And how did it end? That's it. WH and how. This is what they want to know. So if you're summarizing an entire book, you don't go through this process. You don't start doing paragraph by paragraph summarizing. You take the entire book or the entire movie or the entire big article and you start talking about these 5 major questions and you simply answer them, and that's your summary. Okay, so that's as simple as that. Let me show you how it works in the story. Now this is already summarized for you. Let us see if all these things fit in, or most of it, and let's see what the original would have sounded like. So I am going to do the original for you and you are going to look at the summary. This is your summary. The story of Red Riding Hood. I'm sorry, let me do the title first. So, Do Not Trust Strangers is the title of the story. Suits the message and the moral of Red Riding Hood beautifully. Now, if you see how I've started, I say the story of Red Riding Hood is about gullibility and deceit. That's my topic sentence. The topic sentence of my paragraph is telling you what the story is about. It's telling you why the story was written. So, I've said that. That's my topic sentence. There it says, Red Riding Hood told the wolf. Now, straight away jump into the story. One of the tips that I give a lot of students is that when you want to summarize a story, stick to the plot. What is the plot? Plot is a set of actions or events in the story. Do not give up the main events in the story, because then you will get it all wrong. You will not know what are the details and what are the important bits, which ones you should chuck out and which ones you should keep. So the way to know it is to take the events of the story and put it down. So now here we are not starting with one day Red Riding Hood was called by her mother. Will you go to your grandma's? Today I've baked a batch of excellent cookies. Now see, this is detail. Would you take it to your grandmother? This kind of story writing is what you want to read because it's fun to read a story. But if you're summarizing it, you want to cut to the chase, which means quickly come to the point. And what is the point? Red Riding Hood told the wolf, who she met in the forest, about her errand to grandma's to deliver cakes. Isn't that the main thing? That she told him where she was going. Why was she going to deliver cakes? Now her mother told her, is it important? It's not important. She got up in the morning and she wore her red cape and her cheeks were rosy. Is it important? It's not important. She walked into the forest and the sun was shining through the leaves and everything was fresh, and she skipped around and sang a song. Is that important? It's not important. It's not a main event in that story, so you don't need to say it at all in your summary. So essentially you're saying she told the wolf that she met in the forest. If you want to make it better, you can say that she accidentally met. You can add small things. Accidentally met. Just happened that she met him. About her errand. These are the words that you need to know. If you don't know the word errand, you will have to write a lot of things. But if you know the word errand, it's like boom, you've got it. So errand, to deliver cakes to her grandma. The wolf went ahead. Now see, we are not doing the conversation between the wolf and Red Riding Hood. The wolf asked, oh little girl, where are you going now? We are not doing any of that stuff. We cut again and we say that the wolf went ahead. So once she told him where she was going, he went ahead, comma, see comma, imprisoned grandma, comma. See, the events are going like this in a summary. Went, imprisoned, waited and waited for Red Riding Hood disguised as grandma. What did he do? He went imprisoned and disguised as grandma, he waited. So you will see there the verbs that I have underlined in double line red: told, met, went, imprisoned, waited. See? Red Riding Hood soon discovered the wolf under the costume. Now we are cutting again. Red Riding Hood came, knocked at the door. She found the wolf under the blankets. Oh, what sweet smile you have, grandma. We don't want all that stuff. We want to cut it to the action. That's a summary. In a story, the action is the summary. So discovered the wolf under the costume and raised an alarm. Now that's your own words. Raised an alarm. Oh, help me, please, cried. All this dialogue stuff should simply go out. Raised an alarm. A woodcutter passing by. That's your participle. See? A woodcutter. You're not saying who was passing from under the trees, suddenly stopped and listened. None of that. Passing by, helped to drive. He came in, he asked nothing. Helped to drive the wolf out and saved Red Riding Hood and her grandma. And that's the end of the story. So it's very quick, very efficient. You have got all of your readers have got the story. They've never read it before. They've understood completely what the story of Red Riding Hood and the grandma was. And the words, this will probably be about a fourth of your original story, which is full of descriptions and dialogues and asides and all sorts of embellishments that a story is expected to have, but a summary is not. So if you look at this, it is brief and concise. You have paraphrased it without changing the meaning. You would have skimmed, scanned and found these main ideas, but these are based on who, when, where, why, what happened and how it happened. You've combined sentences. You'll see and, you'll find combination of sentences. Connectives and participle phrases. Used a topic sentence. You have used reporting verbs here and there and you've given a title. So you've fulfilled the requirements of a good summarization of a story. Okay. Next, we are going to look at how to summarize an article for the middle school. So here I have just shown you how to do this very, very quickly. Do practice. Let's go to the article now. So now we'll come to the article. Before I continue, let me tell you, Writing with Ease contains excellent summary, or at least how you start beginning to look at a summary. A thorough understanding of summary you will get from the book Writing with Ease. You will find it on www.mindsprings.in, which is our website. Do go and take a look. Okay, so let's come to summary of article, which is very important. That's the kind of questions that you will have in your examinations. So you must pay attention till the very end. I did this with you, and the same requirements of the summary will also fit the article. But whereas in the story we talked about WH and how questions, in this one it's going to be slightly different. When you read a big book, you need the larger, bigger picture and you need the plot. But when you read an article which is smaller, you are expected to find the key ideas very, very carefully. Okay. Now what I have done here is a summary. So it's a completed summary of a big article. And let me talk to you about some of the details that would have gone into the article otherwise. So on 14th February, the ministry, I put short forms which you will not find in a newspaper. I've done this so that I can save space. Okay. So don't take this as an article in the real sense of the word. I've used short forms. On 14th February, the Ministry of Education decided to introduce a common board exam for the 4th standard in all metros. This is your summary statement. Okay. What would your main statement read like? It would have said something like, chaired by Mr. or Professor, Dr. so and so, Sheshadri Rao, something like that. The government, the Ministry of Education has come to a decision to, and they would have given you details for this policy. They would have said they decided that the time of the implementation of exams should coincide with the holidays that are there in various metros. They deliberated on the process and decided that there should not be the same paper or the same syllabus that is meted out to these 4 metros with a commonality element. So, it will go on and on and on. It will be one big paragraph. It will talk to you about the details, the time, the process, the syllabus. All the details of this common board exam for 4th standard will be there in that article. The question is, are you going to put it into the summary? Now, the main thing, the main purport of the article, when you scan the article, you will realize that the article is talking about the 4th standard board exam. It's telling you why that policy was changed. It's telling you what has happened to the stakeholders. What did the parents say? What is the opposition saying? It is all about that. It's not about the exam at all. So, you don't really need that. If you have to use it as a key idea, then you just say they deliberated on, you need to know this word, on, and just write time, syllabus and process of exams. The article itself would have given you lots of details, so we don't use it. Let's come to the second point. This meaning the decision, this was in response to complaints from parents on falling standards in primary education. So, why did they do that? Because of falling standards. In the passage itself, they would have given you examples and anecdotes. So, they would have said something like this: last November, a contingent of parents began a signature campaign. 4,000 signatures were collected. Noteworthy among them was schools from metros, and in a separate representation they argued about cases of children in grade 4 who could not read. Now, see, so much has been written, but what have we taken from it? This was in response to complaints from parents about the falling standards. So, in 2 words, falling standards. All that they have said here we have established. Should we be talking about the signature campaign? Immaterial. What is most important is this word complaint and parent, that's all. And the ministry has responded. That's all we need to have down. We do not need what process the parents used and what are the stories they told the representatives. We don't need any of that. The newspaper article or report will have all of that, because they want you to read, they are interested in readership. The third one is standards have been going down for the last decade. Very simple sentence. Standards have been going down for the last decade. The newspaper would have given you statistics. They would have told you how it is going down. They would have given you a table in which they would have written 3 years or 5 years and showed you how the standards have been going down. Are we going to reproduce that table? We don't need to, not in a summary. Statistics, labels, anecdotes, examples, all this we will jettison. Jettison means we will throw it out. We don't need them. So, you would have had surveys done for the last 3 years have shown that, are shown in the table below. It is clear that parents have a cause to fight for. So, they would have said all this. You don't need to say it. The fourth sentence is several schools had done away with every form of testing. Now, that was the problem, and the paper would have written, furthermore, surveys conducted by a snap inspection of 500 schools asking for reports, they found that 409 schools were barely testing on anything. They were unable to produce records of question and answers that could have produced evidence of testing. So much is written. What have you said? Several schools have done away with every form of testing. Several forms, or you could say the majority of schools. The majority of schools have done away. 409 out of 500, you don't need the statistics. Majority of schools. And the last statement is the opposition has called this policy reactionary, predicting, see that's your participle phrase, predicting student stress would increase. So very simple, the opposition has called this policy reactionary, predicting student stress would increase because of this policy. In the paper, they would have given you a lot of reactions. Mr. Mohite, the opposition leader, said that this was a policy that was not only regressive, but it also was an attack on their government. You know, they'll give you a lot of masala in this. And they'll talk about statements given by this one. The PTA chairman was asked what he thought of the policy. Parents were interviewed and they said this. There will be a lot of those reactions and statements. In a summary, you ignore all that and you simply say that the opposition reacted negatively. If you want to say that the PTA reacted positively, you can write that. If there are enough examples there to show you that the opposition reacted negatively but the PTA reacted positively, then you write that. The PTA, however, reacted positively and applauded the move of the government or the government's move. Try to make it as short as possible. Instead of saying the move of the government, you make it government's move. What happens is you will get a very good, you will stick to your word limit. So one of the things that I should have also told you here is your word limit. Word limit. If you are doing an academic summary, you cannot cross your word limit. So you have to be very careful. If they want a word limit that is lesser than that, you need to start thinking of how to combine these two sentences together or all of these sentences together. So standards have been going down for the last decade as. So I will take out all this and say as every form of testing has been abandoned. So now see, I have cut out all these words. So you need to join sentences together by cutting out a majority of words. And if I want to join this sentence also, then I would say every form of testing has been abandoned. However, the policy was declared reactionary by the opposition, quoting student stress. The minute you start putting those ing words, those sentences will start combining almost on their own. And that is why grammar comes into play. Your transformation of sentences allows you to write these things beautifully by combining sentences very efficiently. That's why those parts of grammar need to be studied, not because you may write or speak necessarily great English, but it will help you to do things like a summary brilliantly if you know how to use those participle phrases. So I hope you liked that summary. Do write to me and ask me if you have any doubts. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and press that bell notification. Meanwhile, summary is all about practice and more practice. So keep practicing and keep smiling.